Welcome everyone. My name is Stefania. I'm a certified yoga teacher and a massage therapist here in Amsterdam. This video is dedicated to all my clients coming for prenatal massage or similar treatments and to anyone who is suffering of back pain during pregnancy. I invite you to stand up and lose any shoes or slippers if you are using them, and careful if you are wearing socks. Come closer to a table, a wall is also okay, something that is nice and steady. We will start by having our hands on the table. If you have the table, it's okay also to have it in front of you on a wall. Have your feet hips apart or even wider if it feels better toward your pelvic floor. And then from this position, as you inhale, reach upwards with your tailbone, start arching back with your spine, so spinal extension, moving the shoulder blades closer to each other, and then looking straight in front of you or upwards toward the ceiling. This is a variation of the cow pose. As you exhale, do the opposite movement, taking your chin to the chest, drawing the tailbone inwards and rounding the whole spine, flattening a bit your bum in here, looking toward your belly or toward your chest. And then let's move with the breath. Inhale through the nose, tailbone moving up, your chest is expanding, shoulder blades together, look up if possible. As you exhale, nice and steady, chin to the chest, tailbone inwards, rounding the whole spine, look toward your belly. And then again, inhale, cow pose, arching with your spine, opening the chest area. Exhaling, cat pose, chin toward your chest, rounding your upper back. Press the table away from you when you do this. And then again, inhale, cow pose. If you need, slightly bend your knees in here. And as you exhale, cat pose, tailbone moving inwards, the chin toward your chest. Again, inhale for cow pose, the tailbone moving up, arching the whole spine, looking up. Exhaling, cat pose. Let's do 2 more times together. Inhaling, cow pose, looking up if possible. Exhaling, cat pose, extending your legs completely if you can. Inhale last time, cow pose. Exhaling through the mouth, cat pose. And then slowly walk your feet a bit closer, either to the table, to the wall, and come to stand. One thing that I would like you to focus a bit more is having your legs participate into this movement. So if you need, especially when you do the cow pose, arching, then use your knees and bend. In this way you go into flexion of your hips that might help you into extending a bit more your spine. And then vice versa, when you do this opposite movement of rounding the back and flattening here the lumbar spine, your lower back, then see if you can extend a bit more your legs. Also careful where in your feet you're placing your body weight, more on the outer edges, more on the inside, to the toes, to the heels, and see if you can equally distribute your body weight in the whole soil of your feet. One more point is on your shoulders, so your hands will be shoulders distance apart, so not too close, because in this way, see, you are already compressing and closing your chest area, therefore your lungs capacity will be affected and reduced. So try to have your hands at least as your shoulders, even wider, that's fine as well. And then when you do the movement, especially when you do cow, but also cat pose, both exercises or both positions, try not to collapse with your neck into the shoulders, like you are getting, shorter with your neck. The neck stays in its length and the shoulders stay in position away from the ears, so nice and down, relax and open. Even if you're doing the cat position, when you round, you press the table away from you. If you're doing the same cat-cow thing on the floor by kneeling, same concept. Try to keep this length in your neck. So when you're doing the chin to the chest, it's not this. It's here the shoulders and then the chin to the chest, and then you will move the chin up and the shoulder blades come a bit closer to each other. Okay, so pay attention to those little things as well, because they really help you then throughout the day in keeping a better posture. If you are on the table or wall, move your feet a bit more to the back, and then keeping your legs extended if possible or slightly bent. Look directly down on the floor for a moment and try to sink into the shoulders. So you should receive a nice stretch and elongation on the back of the shoulders as well. If it is too much, you feel it too much toward your sciatica, glutes area, maybe toward your hamstrings on the legs, then please bend your knees. And again, keep your feet at least hips distance apart, or separate your feet even wider. Once you find your position, if you feel a sense of numbness toward the shoulders, traveling down toward your arms and fingers, then come a bit higher with your back instead of really sinking into the shoulders. Allow the neck to be nice and long in here, and you can have a little check-in for that by moving your head. So swing your chin bone toward the left side, so toward your left arm. Maybe feeling a nice stretch on the right side of your neck. And then drop the gaze down once again toward the floor. And do the same on the other side, chin toward the right side. And then looking down on the floor. You can stay here up to 5, 8 breaths. And then to come out from this position, please unlock your knees, slightly walk your feet forward. As you do so, you start lifting your torso up, nice and slowly, the head coming up as last. So you're basically unfolding all the vertebrae to come up to stand once again. Now you should feel a bit more space into the shoulders, and this is a quite useful technique to decompress your back, especially creating this space into the vertebrae toward your lower back and mid-back. It's also a good stretch toward the SI joint, so where your sacrum area, your spine, intersect with your hips area, and stretch all the way down toward the legs. So if you're spending a lot of time either sitting, maybe on the Pilates ball, maybe you're still working, or maybe you are already in parental leaving and you are trying to walk quite a lot, then by all means this is a good stretch, a good elongation of the back or the posterior chain of the body. The third exercise or movement that we are going to practice is the opposite of what we have just done. For this, when I'm with my client, usually I ask the client to brace themselves, and then I will just place a hand here toward the scapula area in between the shoulder blades, because I want to mobilize this area, just the upper back, thoracic spine, instead of moving down here. And so I try to isolate the movement, keeping the hips and the pelvis in position, and then opening from the thoracic spine. And I have them bracing themselves, because if they just have their shoulders in here, what happens quite often is that just the shoulders move back, which is good by all means, a bit of mobility in the shoulders, a bit of stretching of your pecs, your pectoralis, by all means, that's great. But we would like to mobilize a bit more the upper back and to keep the lower back in position instead of keep on overarching, which inevitably happen during pregnancy because of the weight of the baby and the position of the baby ideally moving with the head down and forward. So we start already walking and standing like this, so we try to neutralize a bit more this area and then to open up in here to create a bit more space for the diaphragm muscle to actually move, and therefore for your lungs capacity to have a better breathing, which help with sleeping, will help you with labor and so forth. So let's try not to move the shoulders. You can try by bracing yourself, for instance, if that helps you anyhow, but try to isolate your movement in here, the mid back, your upper back, your thoracic area. So just behind, imagine the back of your heart center for a reference. You can just start by standing. Keep your hips in position. So if you notice that there is this posterior tilt, very accentuated, try tilt your pelvis a bit. So tailbone moving a bit more down and forward. So neutralize. It doesn't have to be like super tucked in because that creates too much pressure. but slightly neutralized. And then from here, we try to open up with the thoracic spine. You can try also interlacing your fingers and placing the hands behind the head. If you can keep your elbows out, would be great, also for opening up the chest area and the heart center. If this is too much, you can also try by separating your fingertips and just having your fingertips toward the side of your head. And so try again, neutralizing your pelvis. And then from here, opening up, imagine the heart center, the chest popping forward and up, and maybe looking up toward the ceiling as well. Try to keep your elbows pointing out. If with your arms and shoulders this is too much, as I mentioned, you can keep your arms along the body, you can brace yourself and really focusing on the upper back. If you are bracing yourself or just your arms along the body, you can actually do this movement in a bit more dynamic fashion, so really popping up and then releasing, popping up and out and releasing. So just really mobilizing that area of your body. If you want to stay a bit longer, then with your hands interlaced, you go into this back bend and then maybe you keep it a bit more. You don't have to go for crazy back bends, even if you do have the mobility. That is not the intention, because here in the front of your body, it's already quite stretching, especially toward the belly area. I mean your skin, literally, and your fascias are already stretching out because there is someone growing in there. So no need to overdo in that department. So here, key is to pay attention that you are not moving your hips forward, that it doesn't become this, because here is already mobile. We really don't need that. It will just create more problems. So here, stay stable, and I'm opening from here. So without the arms up, maybe I come a bit closer to the camera so you can see. If I move my hips forward, this happen, and I can go all the way down. I'm also integrating with my upper back, but see how I'm moving forward with my hips, and therefore the lower back is compressing. We really don't need that during pregnancy. So we come back, the hips stay in position, and I focus in here. So from here, now I'm standing pretty much straight, considering my scoliosis, and then I move back. I hope that you can see the difference from here, just upper back, to here. Okay, so here I stay a bit stable, and then I'm really concentrating in opening, focusing on opening in here, with or without the arms and hands over the head. So shake it out. We do this exercise next just to mobilize the hips and neutralizing the whole area. The hands can stay toward the waist or maybe toward the lower back, as it is better for you, with your feet at least hips apart or even wider, and your knees slightly bent. We move in a circular way. It can be a very small range of motion, so very small circle, or maybe you feel like you can go a bit wider. Just careful, you might start having a bit of a sense of imbalance in your hips because of the elastin and all those hormones that are changing during pregnancy. So if you feel like it's pretty loose over there toward the hip socket, just maybe reduce a bit your range of motion. It doesn't have to be a spectacular circle. One thing that you can also do in here is that you incorporate a bit more of your spine. So when you move forward, it becomes almost a forward bending, and then when you move your hips forward, it becomes almost a back bend. Or keep it a bit more neutral on your back, so slightly leaning forward or even straight completely, and then focus more on your hips. If circles don't work, you can also swing. So from a side, from a front view, it becomes like this. So just swinging your hips, and therefore you will feel also your tailbone and the lower back that is adjusting in there. If you were doing circles, remember to do both directions, so you reverse the direction of your circles. And anytime that you do this exercise, you can do each exercise up to 8-10 breaths, or even longer, and maybe stay in 1-2 minutes for each exercise. It's better to do them slowly and with qualities rather than just rushing through them. One last thing before leaving, to really make sure that here is not overworked. One thing that I usually do with the client is that I place one hand right here, so toward the lower back, toward the sacrum area. And in there I ask the client to actually press with their spine toward my hand. So what happened from a side view, come closer to you with this hand maybe. So they are usually a bit like this, with this anterior, posterior tilt of their hips. So what I ask them is to press toward my hand, and usually this happen, which usually feels nice. It might be that your tailbone might cause you some problem if you really do this tucked forward of the tailbone, because during pregnancy the sacrum area and the hips area are basically opening, outer rotating, externally rotating, but also your sacrum area, the tailbone moves up basically like this, because all in that area is opening to have the space obviously for the baby and then to favor labor. So the tailbone is moving up, it's really sticking like that, which can hurt when you sit there because it's really sticking there. And so when you do this type of tilt, just careful that it actually is okay for the tailbone. If you start having like sharp pain, then again reduce that range of motion. But just make sure to do sometimes those swinging of your hips forward and backward. So not side to side, but front and back. And you can use it for breathing exercises. So you will place your hands on a diamond shape on your belly. As you inhale, you allow your belly to expand. And as you exhale, the belly release a bit inward, and you do this tailbone moving down and forward. And then inhale, expanding the belly, your bum stick out, and then exhale, you do the opposite. It's like the hips movement in cat-cow. Inhaling, the belly expanded, bum sticking out. Exhaling, belly release down. The diaphragm push the lungs up. Inhaling, exhaling. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale. Exhale through the mouth, really allowing the lips to separate there. Inhale. Exhaling through the mouth, like you're saying the sound ah. Inhale. So we release also the jawbone. Exhale. Let's do 2 more times together. Inhale. And exhale. Last one. Inhale. And exhale. And come back to neutral. Give a shake maybe to the legs, to the shoulders. I hope this helped. If you never done any of those exercises, please be kind to your body. Do it slowly, do it a bit less, maybe even just doing the whole routine with me right now with those minutes. I don't know how much we have done, but it could be already too much for some of you. If you spend most of your time just sitting in front of a computer and working, for instance, not so much moving in your life, your body is already going through quite a lot of changes during pregnancy. So doing all 20 minutes routine, for instance, it might be a bit too much. So proceed on a smaller scale. Maybe just choose 1 exercise or 2 exercises to start with, and take your time to adjust the body as well, so that those exercises really help you in the moment when you're doing, but also teach you how to stay then standing or sitting while you're working or talking to someone in a better and healthier way, so that then you don't have those back problems and back pains. All right. If you have any questions, any feedback, please do let me know in the comment section. If you are one of my clients, I'm looking forward to see you again. Please do take care of yourself and keep practicing. Ciao!